VCR Redux will begin in T-5 minutes.
What the fart is VCR Redux?
It's the show where we take movies from the VCR era and bring them back to today.
How do we do that?
Well, we start by talking about a VHS classic, and usually you'll say something like,
I haven't been this uncomfortable since I watched Meatballs 4, Meatballs to the Rescue with my parents. Oh yeah, or you'll say something stupid like,
I wish we lived in a world where the Garbage Pail Kids made as many movies as the Muppets.
but I know you'll always see it through with a positive attitude.
I hate this movie, I hate being here, I hate all of this. Oh, Jamie Kennedy. Oh, well, shit. Well, let's go for this.
He was in Son of Mask. This is penis.
I am not a gamer. I'd rather read books.
Ian's like the old lady that's like, I got video game monsters, I got movie monsters in here.
As long as we respect the passion and the artistry that went into these films.
You know, obviously they took this movie, it's 93, right? And you're like, what do you want to see in your Mario movie? And they're like, oh, we want it to be grim, we want a lot of death, we want tits and ass.
Oh, and then we start the pitch ideas with modern day sequels like
Weekend at Bernie's 3, Cocaine Mountain.
Sometimes we take it kind of seriously.
I'll watch a Paul Verhoeven alien movie.
oh my gosh, that alien will have more vaginas than anything you've ever seen in your life. Sometimes this Hawaiian shirted fool will pitch something stupid like,
I would take out the virtual reality stuff and just have it be about Jeff Fahey mowing the lawn.
Sometimes the best pitches come from the live chat.
Alex Bonafonte also pitches Grand Theft Starfighter Vice Galaxy.
wait, I thought I had the best pitches.
And what happens at the end of the movie? The ultimate fart. The fart that the warmth goes like all the way down to your socks.
The only rules are, there are no rules. Sometimes we cross over franchises.
Only the truck from Tango and Cash can kill Christine.
And sometimes we travel back in time.
Like 1995 is missing a good Universal Soldier sequel.
But you never know what we're gonna pitch next.
What do you want? Do you want Daniel Stern behind like a mask? Like,
We all know it should be Pesci behind the mask, and like underneath the mask, you should hear him going like fritter, 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 fritter.
you are so proud of yourself for that one. I can't stand you.
I would also love to see a Charles Bronson version of It's a Wonderful Life.
What?
Direct to DVD.
If you made a shot-for-shot remake of Scarface with Goofy as Al Pacino, it would be amazing.
Oh my God.
Dorsey, you need me to be the bad guy.
It's like the worst 1987 Disney movie Disney's ever made. Schlongo, directed by Jim Wynorski.
Like, I would watch a whole bowl of that.
Do the John Holmes story. Add a comedy spin to it.
Wow, the Wonderland murders are so funny.
I'd watch it on my mobile.
Something happens and he goes into a coma. He gets like, hit by a car or something. I know this is dark, but like, bear with me. He's got to go on
Did you just go like Hard to Kill with Ferris Bueller?
I'd watch it on my iPad.
If you want to just like throw in the kitchen sink, it all works. Like Alien vs. Predator vs. RoboCop, like that works. Alien vs. Predator vs. Terminator, that works.
Alien vs. Predator vs. Ernest, that works.
That works.
I respect everything you just said. I need David Silver and Terry Silver and the Sloan family all learning the Quicksilver, but they're doing it in Breakin' 3 Hydraulic Boogaloo, and it's underwater. It's gonna be incredible. Eat your fucking shit out, James Cameron. I got the underwater movie you can't touch.
That was the most disgusting thing I've ever heard in my life.
Mr. Toxie goes to Washington.
My ass would be in the theater tomorrow.
If Harley Quinn gets 7 movies, then Tank Girl should get at least 70.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my life.
I mean, why should we even bother with Look Who's Talking when Air Bud is soaring to new highs?
All I know is I want Danny McBride.
I'd want him doing anything other than writing Halloween movies, honestly. Anything that keeps him away from that fucking job, I'm for it.
Just let him talk out of his butt. I don't care how he does it.
I'd rather not.
Austin Powers doing the Macarena.
That would be the opening credits. Come on.
But we have not yet had Die Hard on a half pipe. What if John McClane Jr. was a pro skateboarder and also an avid machine gun enthusiast? Skate or Die Hard.
What up, virtual people? Welcome to the 175th episode of VCR Redux. We take your favorite franchises out of the analog era and bring them back to 2025. I'm your host, pop culture punk Chris Stiles, joined as always by my co-host with the most, film professor Ian Klink.
How you doing, everybody?
And the third leg of our VCR tripod himself, Mac Daddy Mickey Torres, is Mick back on the show.
What's up, everybody?
And rounding out this righteous crew, New Jersey-based pop punker and Street Fighter champion Steven Zangief Anderson is back on the show.
Happy New Year. It's good to be back.
Thank you for coming back. We are here today to test Harvey Keitel's faith, to take Tom Savini to a cockfight, and to snake dance with Selma Hayek. That's right, folks. This world needs from Dusk Till Dawn 4, and we're here to give it to you. But before Ian starts going off about gas station pussy, we got a dish on how From Dusk Till Dawn came into our lives and what we love about it. And of course, that goes double for you at home and everyone watching the live chat. Was it Love at First Laserdisc, Vital VHS? Hit us up in the chat and let us know how From Dusk Till Dawn came into your lives. But Steve, when did you first get From Dusk Till Dawn?
Shortly after it came out. I think this was a big cult, release on video, rental thing, right? I don't think this really was like a big theater hit.
This hit bigger on video for sure.
Yeah. But I remember catching it and being like, oh man, this movie's incredible. Weirdly enough, I think at the time, this isn't like pre-internet, but this is before you just go on the internet and find anything you want or know anything about it, right? I just was under the assumption, I think the only two movies I'd seen of his or whatever was Reservoir Dogs and
Pulp Fiction.
help me out here. Pulp Fiction, thank you. Or whatever. So I just assumed this was like the third Quentin Tarantino. He put himself in his own movies, so I assumed it was like one of his. I know he wrote it. They wrote like a good part of it. But I think at the time I assumed that. I'm like, this guy is incredible. Like this guy cannot fail. He cannot miss because this movie's awesome.
I can see this being the one that puts it all over the top for you. Like, oh yeah, this closes the deal for young Steve.
This might be my favorite vampire movie.
There was Jackie Brown.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he did. I mean, he didn't stay. They're not.
Be shitting on Jackie Brown. I don't know.
We would find out later on.
I like Jackie Brown, so I loved it when it came out, but I get why people.
I like it, but obviously it's not one of his better ones.
This might be my favorite vampire movie. I think
that's a good. It definitely goes on the Mount Rushmore of vampire movies for me. I think it's this, Fright Night, and Lost Boys, and then there's just like everything else,
happened to this.
Nowhere near as good.
Dang it!
What? What'd you say?
So sick of these people.
What people?
What
are you complaining about already?
The Mount Rushmore. This is one of the best vampire movies.
Yeah, man.
Oh, screw you, Peter Cushing. Up yours, Christopher Lee.
No,
that's my butt, Count Yorga. Like,
I knew you were gonna go sit there and like quote and like list
the original
Nosferatu.
Listen, I knew you were gonna be the one.
Hey, my Nosferatu don't have no mustaches. I'm standing by the.
I have not seen that newer one yet. And
Neither have I. Neither have I.
No.
Yeah,
I'd like to.
I also have not.
Same here.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not dissing Hammer horror movies, but all I'm saying is you kind of grew up in the era you grew up in. If I grew up in the 60s, I'd be saying Bill Russell's the greatest basketball player ever and not Michael Jordan. But I grew up when I grew up. So those are my movies. And it's not like I don't like the Hammer horror shit. I love Christopher Lee. I love Vincent Price. I love Peter Cushing. I love all that shit. I was there for The Devil's Reign. Where the hell were you?
But you won't automatically go to watch it. Somebody says to you, you got to watch a vampire movie. You're not going to go automatically there.
That's my point.
I'm taking them to Fright Night. I'm taking them to Dusk Till Dawn. I'm taking them to Lost Boys.
Of course I'm going to go to Horror of Dracula. What are you talking about? I am.
That's you.
You're going to go back and you're going to watch one of those original, like, Dracula. Yeah, like, black and white Dracula.
Yeah,
of course he is.
I hate saying this, and this is sacrilegious. I was Bela Lugosi fan. I'm not a Bela Lugosi fan. I honestly I hate
Abbott and Costello meets Dracula.
And that's good. I'm there. That's why we're friends, Mickey. No, I will say this. I appreciate vampire. But Chris will understand where I'm coming from with this. I appreciate vampire movies that stick with the rules. And From Dusk Till Dawn sticks with the rules. So I am okay with Dusk Till Dawn in that category.
Well, as long as fucking Sir Klink gives it the approval, we're allowed to continue with this episode of VCR Redux here.
Now we're going on to something else.
Eh,
We're gonna talk about Scars of Dracula. Everybody else can forget. Yeah.
All right, when did young Mac Daddy Mickey Torres stumble upon this cinematic masterpiece?
I watched this in the theaters. I do remember watching this in the theaters.
Man, I
Nice.
wish I'd seen this. Was it the McDate? This could have been a McDate.
I don't remember. To be honest, like I have I may have been on a date, but I don't remember exactly. But I just remember watching this movie because I was super hyped for it because I loved Robert Rodriguez. I still to this day like Robert Rodriguez by every stretch of imagination. And it's not like he has a large catalog either. If you think about it, he doesn't have a large catalog, but he has like such a substantial like amount of work that I absolutely love. And I used to buy all his DVDs and and the Blu-rays and stuff like that because he would always have his like film school.
Yeah.
And I was always
10-minute
like,
film school.
yeah, I would watch the shit out of those because I was like, that was like to me like it, at one point I was like very into like maybe writing my own movie, screenwriting, maybe doing my own thing. So I would watch those things like they were school basically.
Yeah.
And I love everything that Robert Rodriguez does. I mean, not to mention, for, a Latino or Hispanic man to like be that, prevalent in the movie business as far as like, horror movies, especially and stuff like that was really like the first time I really like could remember.
Were you a big
that
like
kind of
Guillermo
being
del
there.
Toro fan too? Was that kind of thing?
I honestly don't like Del Toro as much as Robert Rodriguez. I think Del Toro tries to get too
Weird.
out there,
Yeah.
too out there for his
Yeah.
good.
What's wrong with fish sex? What
right.
fish sex? What's wrong with you?
Like I like the more basic Del Toro like a Cronus. I like Cronus.
It's so basic.
Yeah,
I
get what you mean.
Del Toro movie.
After Hellboy, it was just like he was batshit crazy, going like to another world. And even Hellboy was like a movie. But in any event, yeah, I saw this in the theaters, and then I repeatedly watched it like as soon as it was out on DVD or whatever like that, VHS, whatever to rent. I repeatedly would watch this and own it.
Nice.
There's no wrong way from Dusk Till Dawn. That is kid tested, mother approved. All right, what about young Iowa Ian? What gas station prostitute put this movie in your life?
Gosh, have some respect for the gas stations in Iowa.
Hey, there's no shame.
They're serving you.
Nothing like that happens.
Here.
Nothing like that happens at a come and go. All right. No, actually, so it's funny. I know we've talked about this before, but I came upon it. Now, was Desperado before this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had seen Desperado on. I had seen it on HBO, and I had seen, obviously I'd seen Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, so I knew the Rodriguez thing, I knew the Tarantino thing, but I had not heard about the movie until late night on pay-per-view in 1996, 97. And I know I've talked about this before, but sometimes if you tuned in at like 1 o'clock in the morning, for some odd reason, the pay-per-view movie would start like in the middle.
Yeah.
I remember what you're talking about. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Weird. I don't know why that happened, but you could. I discovered like heavy metal when it came out in 96. I discovered it that way because halfway in heavy metal it would play. The Birdcage would play like half in the middle. I don't know why, but you didn't have to pay for it, but you'd be able to. And I think it was a way for them to trick you, of like, okay,
going back and watching the whole thing.
But you want to see the beginning. I don't know why they would do that, but they did that with From Dusk Till Dawn. So I saw half of From Dusk Till Dawn, and then because I saw it and I loved it, I had to see it. But my parents weren't going to pay for pay-per-view, so we ended up going to Roadshow Video in Sioux City, Iowa. One of my favorite video stores of all time. You could get popcorn at Roadshow Video, so you could walk the aisle and eat popcorn. It was beautiful. But then I rented From Dusk Till Dawn, and I will say it is on my top list of vampire movies. I
Now,
love.
did you come in when you first watched it and it came in the middle? Were you already past the reveal? So like you came in and the reveal was
that's
already
what I was
there?
gonna ask
Because
too.
that setup is what gets you.
It would start in the middle of Selma Hayek's dance.
So yes.
Yeah, so you were already in the
pretty
reveal.
much.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so,
you
it's
missed
like
the whole
right
the
before
first
it,
half,
yeah.
yeah, so like I didn't see the part of that sick part with Tarantino and the the hotel room and all that.
Yeah,
the other half of this
remember,
movie is a weird dramatic like action, I don't even know what to call it or whatever. It's like a weird like
action horror movie.
Yeah, it's not even a horror movie. The whole beginning of this movie
you don't
is
even
just like
you didn't even like. I mean, but to be honest, like like all like when you first, I mean, at least that I can remember, I don't ever remember walking into this movie knowing that it was going to be a vampire movie. Because I didn't see anything advertisement trailer wise or whatever like that was giving away that was revealing that was revealing the turn or the twist. I never saw any.
I think they did.
I didn't see anything like that.
It
I
may
just
have
like
been,
a lot of the trailers that I remember, and maybe this is just me or whatever like that, was just focused on Clooney, because like Clooney was ER Clooney.
right.
Didn't really like
this made him a movie star.
Yeah, this is the movie, and
what
it's
started Clooney.
So like seeing Clooney with like tattoos and like robbing like gas stations or whatever the case may be. There's shout out to the gas station pizza. It was like
well, in fact,
it was new. It was new.
It was the paper ad for From Dusk Till Dawn that Joel Schumacher. He basically he took out his newspaper, saw the big poster in the newspaper for From Dusk Till Dawn, drew a Batman over. That's how it was From Dusk Till Dawn. So
really?
Out From Dusk Till Dawn, he would have gotten Batman.
That's funny, dude. Like he is so good in this. Clooney is so good in this.
There is no better line delivered, and I think to me what makes George Clooney, the actors have to have their style. Pacino has his Pacino thing. Walken has his walk. Clooney, when he's doing the thing of, what I saw was vampires. I don't want to hear anything that.
I don't believe in vampires because I don't fucking
believe in vampires. So what we're talking about is vampires. So I don't want it. So can we all agree we're dealing with flipping vampires?
I was sure you were gonna say it was the psychos. Is that what they look like? Psychos do not explode when sunlight hits them. I don't care how fucking crazy they are.
Pattern.
Yeah,
I love it.
Honestly, like to me, I mean, like Clooney is somebody that I think gets shit on because of the Batman movies. But
I don't think so. I think he's immune from that. I really do.
Well, no, but I'm just saying that a lot of people shit on him because of the Batman movies. I don't.
He only did one.
Yeah, I know, but it's still like it
was a big deal though.
To him. It stuck to him, and it even like brought back up again in the Flash movie. So like the reality is like, but like he makes good movies, good shows. He's a good actor.
I think his friend the Oscar doesn't care anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like
exactly.
those Ocean's movies and shit.
What I love though is Clooney has. One of the things Chris and I have talked about this before. One of the things I hate is when these big stars start off in the horror movies. And then they get these interviews later on in life, and they're just like, "Oh, I don't want to talk about Leprechaun. I don't want to talk about Critters 3."
Right.
No, you cashed that check. You told all your friends to go to the movie theater to see.
We were so hyped, yeah.
You were so. And what I love about Clooney is if you ask him about From Dusk Till Dawn, he gets excited. He's like. Oh,
I bet you could ask him about Return of the Killer Tomatoes, and he'd probably
talk about it.
Yeah.
He does talk about
it. Dude,
he's like, hey,
remember this is also movie. Like
it was
this was Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez. Let's not like who wouldn't want to talk about being in a movie with.
It's true. This isn't like a low budget. I mean, it's not a super high budget or whatever. But as far as
nothing embarrassing,
it's not Leprechaun. Let's be honest. It's not Leprechaun.
Well, nothing.
So I do want to go to the chat real quick because it's been a few weeks and I miss everyone in the live chat, and let's see who we got in there today. That's right. Happy New Year to everyone there. I see we have Angie Saunders, the mashup genius. Cobra Kai Never Dies, the great Joanne Bullimore. We have Monica
Yeah.
Simon from across the pond, our favorite Swede. Whiskey 4-1, the great Alex Bonafonte. Michael Ricci, our favorite location scout. Caitlin Altman, America's Next Top Model. Margaret Altman, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm sorry about the foul language at the beginning. Gold's Code, the great Sean Gold. Mikey Riffraff, another mashup genius himself.
Yeah.
Dustin Nino from Retro Fiend Radio. The Steel Tiger Man. Ooh, this is a packed cast. Thank you so much
the
for tuning in,
gang
everybody.
is all here.
And also, if I could just real quick, yesterday was Margaret Klink's birthday, so Mama Klink, happy birthday to you who is watching. So.
There
Well,
you
happy
go.
birthday.
Mama Klink, we wish
It's
you
Capricorn season.
yes, a very happy birthday and a wonderful new year.
I
Gold's
will also
Coasting.
say, can we acknowledge these guys? I mean,
right,
yeah.
Danny Trejo. Okay,
Danny
the only
Trejo.
man,
And Cheech
the only
Marin.
man who's all over this franchise, right there.
Cheech Marin. I mean, just the
He plays
fact
3 roles in this, right? He
that
plays
he's
3
playing all
different
these
guys?
multiple roles.
Yeah.
And this is Danny Trejo. This is before I really knew Danny Trejo. I only knew him from the Rodriguez movies.
I
Now
love that you call him Trejo.
Trio.
or Trejo. Sorry, I apologize.
Trio.
It's okay. It's cute.
I remember always thinking like, this guy is amazing. This guy, and it's only late. Like, Trejo is a gift that keeps on giving, because you think, oh, I've had enough. I've seen everything I could. Then you find out the man pops up in movies you didn't even know he was in. He's in Death Wish 4, The Crackdown.
He's in
Oh
Death
my god! Well,
Race.
that's a famous
He's in-
canon fans know that
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
dummy. No pun intended, but there's a great dummy swap. Danny Trejo dummy is maybe the worst dummy in the history of dummies. But it's one of the things that makes canon canon. But at any rate, what's the word in the chat? We got Gold's Code says this movie is amazing. Finally a good choice. I rented this every week when I was 10. At the video store, so much so that the video store sold it to me. Still one of my favorite movies. That is heartwarming. Michael Ricci, I watched it so many times on HBO. Gold's Code saying Clooney was peak 90s cool. I totally agree.
Yeah.
This movie in general is what, if there is such a thing as true 90s cool, this is one of the few movies that
He did
possess it.
almost the impossible for me, which is getting an entire tribal sleeve of tattoos look
Right?
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, only Clooney can make that look fucking cool. That's true.
The
that is
fucking
factual.
Caesar cut. He had the Caesar
yeah, with
cut.
that
That-
too,
he brought
yes.
that. He
Oh,
brought
man,
that.
yeah.
Cut. Yeah.
He broke all the conventions, man. He was against the grain. He was a breath of fresh air. That's part of why Clooney hit so big, and he was talented as fuck. The great Nino. First time I saw this was a VHS rental from my local mom and pop shop. A lot of Robert Rodriguez flicks I rented, especially after El Mariachi. I was so sold. So yeah, shout out to everyone that was cool enough to have seen El Mariachi before Desperado.
Yeah.
Monica Thyman saw this on video and loved it. Cobra Kai Never Dies had this from Blockbuster. Gold's Code saying this is the best vampire movie by far. I can't argue against that. Whiskey 41 says he goes with Lost Boys. He says Dusk Till Dawn are S
It's
tier.
like that.
Michael Ricci, laughing that Klink went to Nosferatu. Some love for Near Dark in the chat. Whiskey saw this in theaters, and God, I'm just so jealous of everyone that got to see this on a big screen.
Me too.
Yeah, a lot of talk of a Near Dark VCR episode, which we could definitely do. Some Stephen King side chat. There's a lot of love for Bruce Campbell and Tiffany Amber Thiessen scene in the sequel. So let me take my glasses off and talk straight with the people here. This is what I call, this falls into a lovely category for me that I call the cinema of 6th grade. I file this under the memory bank with Demon Knight and like Bordello of Blood and other space truckers and the great films of the
You
mid
shut
90s.
your dirty goddamn mouth about my space truckers now.
I just called it one of the great films of the mid 90s.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
That's a glorious
Jesus,
6th
Grandpa.
grade.
Well, I thought
That's a wonderful time.
You
The
bagged
Babysitter's
great
Club.
movies.
Yeah. No, these were all hits. There were no lows to 6th grade. All right. There were no lows. All right. It's when
It's
I
a
met
movie.
Steve.
How
We
could it be
became
bad?
best friends. This is a fucking it's a movie. Movies were all great back then.
Movies were
so
all good.
yeah.
No.
This is one
Banger
of those ones you
after
take.
banger after banger.
Right.
This is one that as soon as I saw it in the video store, I was like, all right, yeah, taking it. and you're just showing it to whoever, whatever your brother or your friends, whoever will watch this movie, and you're like, this movie's fucking great. You all need to see this fucking movie.
I was saying to Chris today, ironically enough, if somehow they'd gotten this script and Robert Rodriguez on board to have done this in lieu of Bordello of Blood. Let's say if this wound up being the second, and I think they're about around the same time-ish, maybe. If they went Demon Knight to this movie, I think Tales from the Crypt would still be doing movies, but still be putting them out.
There's an irony to that.
Is there?
This was going to be a Tales from the
right.
Crypt
That's
Presents,
right. We did see something.
but
really,
Universal backed out because of Bordello.
Cowards.
Well, no, there was a deal. They were going to lose Robert Zemeckis. He was going to go over to DreamWorks to keep Zemeckis. They said, "What can we do?" Zemeckis and Bob Gale said, "Buy our Bordello of Blood script we wrote when we were in college."
Oh, is that what it was?
Because they bought it.
Yeah.
So you were the three Tales. Sorry, I'm a Tales from the Crypt nerd. You guys know this.
Yeah, I know. You opened Pandora's box, Steve.
You know,
I love Tales
but
from the Crypt.
but there was the third. It was going to be Demon Knight from Dusk Till Dawn, and then there was another movie that was set in New Orleans. It was called like Dead Awake or something like that. Those are going to be the three Tales. But because of the Bordello of Blood deal, Universal shoved it. So they said, well, we're not going to do two vampire movies. So Dimension bought.
Because it would be so to think of this day, we were still getting fucking, if we were still getting Tales from the Crypt movies, I could not make me happier.
But how bonkers?
By the way, I just want to say, I sorry to cut you off. I forgot to mention Jeremy Ledford in the chat. Jeremy's been tuning in the show for a long time. Thank you so much for tuning in, Jeremy.
Thank you.
And any opportunity to cut Ian off is always a good one. So
how bonkers would that be to have From Dusk Till Dawn with the Crypt Keeper at the beginning of it? I mean,
it'd be
that
awesome.
would have just put it over, over the.
But you know what? Honestly,
it doesn't need
about
it.
this.
Yeah.
Doesn't need it.
If you have Crypt Keeper in the front, you automatically know that this is something's
it ruins
going to
that surprise and it's from Predator. They really took the blueprint from Predator. Robert Rodriguez openly admits it. It's why he did Predators. That he was like, I love how the first half of Predator is its own movie that's great and it's good enough to be its own movie, but then you get this big tone shift.
That's the key, though. That's the trick, right? Both of these movies in their own, just like Predator, are both solid movies if they kept going the way that they were going. You could get the second half of this movie and it would still be incredible as a whole movie, as well as the first part of it, if it kept going.
I would like to know, but I think the first half is Tarantino's writing. And the second half
100%.
is Rodriguez.
That scene in the store with the guys freaking out, and he's like, "I'm not an that," you know what I mean? He's yelling at them.
Academy Award for acting natural.
Yeah. Like that is all Tarantino, like down the line. Like, it's so obvious.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that. I mean, also, credit to Robert Kurtzman because this was all based on his 25-page outline. So I think a lot of the beats were probably worked out there, and like I feel like he doesn't. It's sort of like the guy who did Henry Selick or whatever, the guy who did Night Before Christmas. Like Tim Burton gets a lot of the credit, and I feel
gets all of the credit.
Gets all the fucking credit in that case. But Robert Kurtzman, obviously a legend to all horror nerds. K&B makeup effects and just Walking Dead and there's a million things. Well, that's Greg Nicotero. I'm sorry, but Kurtzman is just an incredible guy who's done everything. He's worked on. Jason, Freddy, Michael, everything. Any rate,
I will say the only thing about the movie, I was rewatching it today, that I didn't notice it when I was younger. It's probably just more so now that I'm more of a film teacher, and I'm just noticing the pacings. When they they're all in this big, they're in this big room, and it's all the vampires coming after everybody individually. The pacing always does seem a little off. Like why can't 500 vampires attack 4 people at once?
It's all that old style like kung fu.
Because then the movie would be over in 2 seconds.
That's the only thing where I'm just like, I'm watching it, I'm like, the pace sometimes is always off, but in a weird way, it kind of works. You don't notice it as much, but and what they did to Scotty. I mean, that's just wrong. That's terrible. The brother.
Yeah.
Well, but he
It's okay
deserved
for
it.
his, his acting sucked. You know,
Yeah, I know, but that's
He
just
was
the dad.
so bad.
The
He was
dad
so
killing
bad.
us. Yeah, but the dad biting him. I'm sorry. That was
Also though, like that's so bad. He's also
Kill
like,
me.
hey man, you have no acting
Kill
credits at
me.
all. Why don't you get in there with Harvey Keitel, Juliet Lewis, and George Clooney, and then
Quentin
show us what
Tarantino
you're
and,
made of? You know, like
Selma
fuck off.
Hayek.
That's
and,
impossible.
Tom
Yeah.
Savini, Fred Williamson. Yeah, it's a tough room.
That was
I
a
get it.
favor. That kid got cast as a favor. That
Oh, yeah.
I'm convinced.
I will tell you right now, no movie ends with a better reveal. Maybe there's more, but I will tell you right now. This movie, the last shot of this movie,
I love it too.
is one of the coolest. I don't care what anybody.
You know what it was? To be
On the
honest,
top
that
tier.
reveal was like Planet of the Apes reveal.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
great. It totally. You did not expect that, and what a great way to open it up to do like a billion other movies.
A promise that
Sadly-
was never that they never made good on.
Sadly.
But before we
We
get into
get-
our sequel,
Great.
talk, we are past the half hour. We do have to briefly touch upon the
Oh,
monstrosities that are Dusk Till Dawn
No,
2 and
no,
3. Yes,
no,
yes.
No,
Yeah.
I one of the best
Robert Patrick.
Robert Patrick roles. He cared. I don't care what anybody says.
He always cares, but I'd
He
rather
always
watch
cared.
Double fucking Dragon than
Yes.
Texas Blood
He
Money
definitely
again.
cares in Double
You
Dragon.
got two of my boys from Blood In, Blood Out, and I still can't watch
these
this fucking
these
movie.
movies are fucking rough. We watched both of them in the last 2 days.
Wow.
The
Like
second
I
one
said,
looks like the most ambitious student film I've ever seen in my life because they
They have
it's like what can
close-ups
I
at
glue
least.
a camera onto? What can I attach a camera to that's moving for every single shot? It's fucking hard.
I'm
Danny
gonna do
Trejo
this
again.
one from the perspective of his shoelace. Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
But you get Danny
It's a
Trejo.
try-hard mess. Yeah.
But Jenny Trejo is in all three of them, which is a nice little
Danny
connective
Trejo.
tissue.
It's totally worth it for Danny Trejo. I will say that they are not movies to watch twice. You watch
No,
three.
you're one and done. You're one. Well, I didn't even finish 3. I like full disclosure. I lasted 15 minutes. I'm like, this is a fucking western. I'm out of here.
Yeah, it's rough, dude. It's a rough opening in the beginning. I couldn't follow it, honestly. I couldn't follow it at all.
It was
Even
a bit
towards
of
the
a
end.
You're giving me
towards the end
Romeo
of
and
that
Juliet
movie,
with
I'm sitting there
vampires.
looking
I was
like,
okay, all right.
yeah, I couldn't figure out who any of the characters were. I'm like, I'm an hour and change into it, and I still don't know who anyone is or what's happening.
So I have so I mean we're at pitch time, whatever the case may be. We've already discussed 2 and 3. We're done with it. And the TV show never even watched it. Never even
There
watched
was
it.
a second one. There was a third one.
Yeah.
Period.
Here's the gist. I thought there would have been such a great to me, From Dusk Till Dawn could have been like the Avengers. And then you could have had like prequels of each fucking character. Machine Gun. You could have had fucking Fred Willis.
Sex Machine? Yeah.
Sex Machine.
Yeah.
You could have Sex Machine. You could have had Cheech's character. You could have had the brothers. You could have had the family. I mean, maybe not the family, but like
I'm
but
all
the
for
brothers.
Rise of the Sex Machines.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
but
saying to
I'm
Chris
saying,
today, it had to happen. It was written correctly, and it's done to perfection, in my opinion. But those characters are so good, and assembling this team is so good that I wanted more of them. I wanted everyone in this movie.
You could have had prequels, but based on those characters. And you let's just say maybe you only do one prequel movie and you combine it all together, because you could very well navigate the scope of these characters.
That's what 3 is. It
Both
basically
sequels are prequels, technically. I think, right?
Without any of the stars that we love from the first one.
Well,
no, come on. Like we want the OGs. We want Clooney. We want Tarantino. We want
of course, yeah.
all Fred Willis. We want all this.
By the way, have any of you ever met Fred Williamson?
Fred Williamson?
I did. Yes, that's right.
I met him. Yeah.
Okay, Chris, I got to meet the man. Everything you ever want.
Yeah, he's
Fred
a wonderful.
Williamson.
Yeah.
I just one of the nicest guy. Told me tons of stories, including from Dusk Till Dawn stories. I mean, just great guy. So kudos to Fred Williamson.
Definitely, yeah. Oh, dude's been a hero of mine ever since I saw Original Gangsters.
This is why Chris and I are friends.
So yeah, the Indiana pride runs deep for Original Gangsters.
Gary, Indiana.
Gary, Indiana, folks. Yeah,
we're the capital of the world.
I agree. There is not that much to discuss on the sequels. I will say briefly that the second one starts okay and just gets worse and worse and worse, and then the third one starts horribly bad and somehow gets better or gets less bad as it goes on. But you could put them both in a blender and you still don't have enough ingredients to make something half as good
Well,
as the original.
the best
from
part
Dusk
of
Till
2
Dawn.
is the title.
Texas Blood Money. Yeah.
Texas Blood Money. That's the best part of the sequel. That you're just like that's just cool. That just sounds cool. Yeah,
I felt
Yes,
like
yeah.
the Jesus character was such a waste of a character. He played a vampire. Like that was like the worst like iteration or the worst acting of a vampire that I've ever seen in my entire life. Of all these
He's
movies.
Chewy for me forever.
You know what it is? Okay, and this might go into our pitches. I think from Dusk Till Dawn, if they had done a sequel, should have literally been the sequel that I think everybody hates, but I think this time it would have worked. Just remake the first movie.
They did that. That's what the TV show was.
Well, but not remake it that time. But like just do the same.
Like do the same thing for the
same
second
story, just different people.
Right.
It's still the same structure. It's do the stuff where they have to somehow or another they have to get to.
They got tons of movies.
So I
do
thought
this,
about
yeah.
that. I thought about that take, and I think and I hate to say this because it's such a fucking lame studio executive move, but I think the only way you can accept that is if you gender flip it. Is that it's like now, and that's where the title Lady Night comes in. We have like a female group of criminals that are fucking hiding out in the titty twister or whatever, that they come there for drinks, and it's a little bit.
How cool would it have been? How cool if it would it? What if they had gotten Selma Hayek? And
well, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, Selma Hayek's first
Mickey,
introduction.
it's your prequel idea. This is how Selma Hayek became the vampire.
Yeah. Like you always have, like, this, if we're thinking about like vampire theory, there's always the main one that created all these vampires. So you could tell the story based on that too.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I also thought you could continue on with the story. I mean, like, look, like somehow, some way, maybe something happens, and Juliette Lewis's character has to find Clooney's character. They have, because like maybe something happens and she finds out something that like they're in danger somehow, some way, like the main vampire found out that they basically took out Selma Hayek, who was his girl or whatever it case may be, and
right,
the
some
whole
kind
thing
of vendetta against them from whatever that happened.
And then you pay off the whole temple thing and everything else like that, and he's the oldest vampire, like underworld, that shit.
They have an ancient being lurking in the catacombs of this Aztec, ruin. Yeah, that is the titty twister. That is so. Yeah,
I'm into that. I mean, that sounds like fun, obviously.
Yeah, and it's Bill.
Anything we come up with will be better
Bill
than the sequel,
Skarsgård with a freaking mustache.
Of course.
And
I love you. You can go. There is no wrong way to Skarsgård.
Yes,
I will say that.
To Skarsgård.
No, there's no wrong way. You can Alexander, you can Peter, you can Bill. They're all, you can kick it, you can beat it. It's great. It's wonderful.
How cool would it have been if that main vampire, like, was another version of Cheech?
That'd be great. You got me there.
I also thought it would be interesting if it was Chong. Obviously, I thought that crossed my mind that the OG was cool. Tommy Chong, and he's just like you play him sort of like the wise drug dealer, where he just seems like chill, like, hey man, I don't know, it's, I'm out in Mexico, man. I just started biting on people. They're so delicious, man.
Can we talk about the man for like 2 seconds?
Bill is not here, man.
Why does Tommy Chong? Why did Tommy Chong not get into some of these movies that Cheech was in? Like I mean, I know you didn't want to associate.
I know why.
I know you wanted to associate.
They had a beef for a while, I think.
I know, but even like Chong in his own right should have had some movies that he did without Cheech, similar to like why did Tarantino
he did
never...
Far Out Man? He did. It's called Far Out Man. It's a cinematic masterpiece. I promise
but I'm saying,
you.
like, why didn't Tarantino call up Chong instead of Cheech?
Chong was making his own movies with his family. That's why they're called a Tommy Chong attempt, is Far Out Man is credited. But I promise you, we will talk Far Out Man again on VCR someday, because this movie is practically autobiographical to my history and my upbringing. Absolutely love that. Long live C. Thomas Howell. That's all I can say, folks.
I mean, I will say, there's, you know, if you had taken a cast, you know, because Robert Rodriguez now is that's what I kind of like about, like, you know, like James Cameron and Robert Rodriguez, John Ford, you know, these directors who have kind of their, you know, Joe Dante, they always cast these same people over and over and over again. I do love that Rodriguez has that family. And I think it would have been really cool if he had come back to do another one with more of that family. Like, can you imagine this movie had like Jessica Alba?
Jessica Alba,
and
Rosario Dawson, maybe
Michelle Rodriguez. Oh my God, if we could have had Michelle Rodriguez from Dusk Till Dawn.
Dude, listen.
I mean, right there, Michelle Rodriguez and Rosario Dawson. They're the new geckos.
Well,
you know,
the top pick, the top choice for this originally before Clooney was Banderas. I'm pretty sure I saw that on something. But they wanted Antonio Banderas. So there was conflict.
I know Tarantino offered this to Travolta before Pulp Fiction.
Really?
Yeah, and Travolta's like, I don't really want to talk about that. He's like,
Michael Madsen had to be on that short list too.
Probably, yeah. But he goes, I just don't like vampires. I'm not into vampires, so you know, it doesn't really interest me. But that other thing sounds cool. If anything falls out of that one, and that was obviously Pulp Fiction. So yeah, I think about, you know,
I mean, he didn't go wrong. I feel like, you know, like he probably chose right for him, because I don't see him being really good in this movie.
So I think about like the other actors from Pulp Fiction too. Like, what if you had Ving Rhames in this? It's just like, you know, criminally underused guy. Like Ving Rhames should be in every film. I can't think of one film that wouldn't be enhanced by Ving Rhames.
Although this is casted pretty perfectly across the board.
I love Fred Williamson. I would never want to not have Fred Williamson.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, yeah.
Could have been really cool.
You like in theory, if you had to recast this, I don't think you could. I like meaning like I wouldn't want to. Like this is the perfect cast. Like you could probably pick some people that were similar or might have been, you know, like, oh, it would have been cool to see them. But when you see the final product, when you think about it, and as many times as if we've seen it, you're like, nah, nobody else.
Yeah.
Well, even there's that new Academy Award category for, like, you know, they want to have the category for casting. You know, like this cast was pretty rock on. I mean, like it was pretty solid casting for this movie. Like I don't think any, except unfortunately, but like I think everything hit pretty. Everybody hits their marks like perfectly.
No, I think that guy did a better job than the kid.
That's what I was saying. I was pointing to.
I mean, there's always room.
Stop! No, that's bad directing. That's Robert Rodriguez.
It's been a while. It's been a while, and I kind of miss you, Ian. So I'm gonna throw you a bone. What if Richard Mazer was the new Harvey Keitel?
We're no longer going to do one of these shows because we just hit an epoch that cannot be thrushed. I mean, like.
But Richard Mazer, like, coping with his alcoholism, because I know you love that as a subplot. While he rediscovers his faith via vampires, because, and I'm just throwing this on there now, he is back out of retirement, working for the FBI and their cold case, trying to fucking follow the geckos, and they wind up at the Titty Twister, and it's sort of an Aliens thing, where you have a different, instead of criminals coming in, you have, like, you know, John Q. lawmen type of guys coming in, FBI, Brill Cream, you know, slick back hair guys coming in, degenerate cops that are, maybe some of them are into this strip club thing before they realize how close they are.
Give a little bit of like an X-Files kind of vibe.
Yeah, get some X-Files shit and get some sleaze in there, and, you know, boom, you're off to the races.
I feel like you can get that as a sequel too. You can get, like, you know, basically, you know, Clooney and Juliette Lewis, they're back together, you know, because they have to, you know, fight this main whatever like that. And there's fucking cops there too, and like the cops.
Right, that's another part of the plot that's intersecting.
They're going after like Clooney because they find out where he's at, so they follow him to this fucking, you know, place, and now you have the fucking FBI's or the cops, whatever like that, having to work with the fucking criminal.
What if like kind of
like the second one, but better.
What if Clooney and Juliette Lewis are both being separately trafficked back to the titty twister for the same reasons or whatever, while they're following
it's
Clooney?
masked.
While these-
It's masked different.
It's kind of like what's her name in Saw 2. She knows what's going on. Julia Lewis knows what's going on. That you know.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Okay, hear me out though. Hear me out.
Okay.
It's a biker bar, right?
It is.
All right.
No Robert Downey Jr.
Nope. All right, but this is my imaginary timeline pitch. It's 2002, From Dusk Till Dawn 4, From Dusk Till Dawn Forever, Forever Night, whatever. But Boots come into the door. It's a motorcycle boot guy, right? Camera pans up. It's freaking Lorenzo Lamas.
All you had to say was Mickey Rourke instead, and I was gonna drool.
No. I would prefer Lamas.
I want Renegade.
Oh no, even better.
Lamas now, I would prefer over Mickey Rourke for sure.
Even better. Even better than Mickey Rourke, Richard Grieco. Boom.
Oh God.
Taking him from TV.
You know I hate the Greco, but it fits. It would fit.
It fucking fits.
The money.
Dude. It totally fits.
The money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nothing says like lower budget, like shittier sequel though than Richard Grieco taking in the A role. You know what I mean? That was once George Clooney. That's
what I'm saying.
But if I see this movie's preview and it's like, who's in the Clooney role?
That's
Richard
what,
Grieco?
I'll tell you something.
It's the DVD directed DVD at Hollywood Video in 2004. It's with Richard Grieco and
Time was
exactly.
Time was when George Clooney was out in the driveway waxing Richard Grieco's car on a fucking Saturday morning.
True.
That was a different time.
It's a different fucking time, folks. A
Not
better
to-
time,
also-
maybe. Not to slander Clooney. I love Clooney, but I do want to just say there's a pitch in the live chat. The great Dustin Nino with so far the lone pitch. So if you guys have pitches, you're sitting on them, please send them in the chat. What do you and don't you want to see? And from Dustin on 4. But Dustin's pitch: Michael Dudikoff plays Joe Armstrong. He teaches orphans in Mexico. Unfortunately, built on top of one of those pesky Aztec vampire temples, and now he must save the world in Ninja Dawn. Oof, delicious. Take my money. Get Sam Schmulik Furstenberg on the horn. Get Lucinda Dickey in here. Let's get some exorcism scenes.
Good ninja vampire movie.
I don't think there exists.
A man can dream.
Think of that.
I mean, somebody would say the Underworld movies is somewhat ninja.
No.
Yeah, you could see there's some.
It's Matrix.
some
Those are
aspects
Matrix.
of that.
Those are Matrix vampire movies. You know,
Yeah,
you have
yeah,
the techno and the bullet time and the
But those movies are very good too. They are in my top of vampire movies too. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it right now.
They are great movies. I don't know if they hit the tippy tops.
I don't know if I'd have to rewatch them now. I don't. It's been a minute.
2 words.
Yeah.
Kate Beckinsale.
I get that. I understand.
gotta say that.
Yeah.
I got 3 words for you. Vampire in Brooklyn. All right, that is what I have for you, sir.
It's up there.
I can't compete with that.
I'm good with
I
that.
like Dracula
I'm good
Dead
with
and
that.
Loving It as long as we're going on.
Oh
my God,
sure.
even better.
That's in there.
Don't show it all. Don't show it all in the first episode back. Good Lord, you're giving away everything here now. Fuck me.
Oh my God, we should.
I can't even.
We should just do a month of vampire films.
As long as we
January, I love it.
As long as we do Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie, and not the show. I'm sorry, Steve. I know you're a show guy.
I love the show.
The show's incredible. Yeah. The movie's good. The show's incredible.
I need the movie.
Yeah. Well, it's a movie podcast, so there you go. Chris.
Only one of them has Sasha Jensen, and that's my mic drop. But Gold's Code with the pitch. His pitch. Mitchell and crew are driving through Mexico to catch some tasty waves. Snake recommends the titty twister, and they stop by only to confront vampires. From Dusk Till Dawn born. Oof.
I'd like to also add that Gold's Coat wrote, "Hey Zangief, finally a movie that requires you to suck." Thanks, Gold's Coat.
You're not part of the VCR family until you've been razzed by Gold's Code. So welcome to the team. We'll get you your VL placa.
As long as the airborne kids turn into the people that are killed by the band, Which I still
Ah,
don't get.
come on.
I don't. I'm sorry, I don't get it. How
Now let's kill that fucking
with the
band.
band.
Come on.
How the band
Tito and the
killed those people.
Tarantulas have to be in every Robert Rodriguez movie.
I know,
It's
but
just in
how did they
contract.
stick this guy like in 2 seconds? They stick a guy's foot in his butt and
awesome.
and
he's the guitar. Yeah,
it's weird.
It's incredible. It's an
Sometimes
incredible
you gotta-
weird scene. It is like a pan whip scene where they go back to the band and they're just playing human body part remains
Blow
as their
up
instruments.
for no
Fucking
reason.
wild.
The fact that they're not playing
And they blow up for no
Footloose
reason,
or
yeah.
Dead Man's Party though is a real fucking
Sure.
missed opportunity.
That's
That's
true,
what I'm gonna
yeah,
say. They
For
could have
sure.
they could have done a fucking a cool
Ah.
version of that. But also pitch in the live chat, and to keep our traditions to hit all of our benchmarks, the Great Whiskey 4-1 has a pitch, and the Titty Twister is being mismanaged by a new owner with an insatiable appetite, thus attracting the attention of angry rogue U.S. mercenaries. Steven
No.
Seagal in From
No.
Dusk until he gets on Ozempic. Oof,
Okay, I'll tell you into the title.
I love-
I actually
Oh.
kind of think that could have worked. Like this
Yeah.
is
I'm into
that
it,
I
yeah.
For
think
sure,
actually-
Jean-Claude Van Damme could have been in this.
Oh,
I love
that
it.
would have
Yeah.
been. Give me some
Yeah.
Van Damage with some vampires. Get out of here. Like that's
He
that-
would have been awesome if you had.
He would
to
have fit. He would have
recast
fit in this. You're
Sex
right.
Machine. Yeah, he
Yeah.
would have been Sex Machine.
Yeah, yeah.
Oof, that would have been great. Oh, he would have been the
Jean
coke
Claude Van
machine.
Damme
Oh.
with a gun penis. Get out of here.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, he
Van
does the
Damme would have been all
splits.
about
Oh
it.
my god, he does the splits and his fucking gun penis pops out. Like that's cinema.
There
folks.
could, we joke, but if we're a serious producer chewing a cigar, damn it, that could have been really cool. The Jean-Claude Van Damme fighting vampire stuff, not blame.
And we all know,
not
let's be
blame,
honest,
but
we all
like-
know Van Damme does his best work with, besides himself, Mickey Rourke and Dennis Rodman. So boom, there's your new team.
That's a good new team.
That's a pretty strong new team. I mean, if you
Well,
get
it's a solid
Eric
team
Roberts,
for the time period that you're talking about. Not if we made
Listen,
it
the
now.
problem is
But-
all I
Right,
can
yeah.
picture him is with the
The
rest.
1998 version, you
That's
know.
all I can think of. One, with
What?
dreadlocks thing going on. Like I can't.
This is before that. He still had like kind of a human face back then. This
Okay,
is, you got to think.
this
You
is-
gotta
this
think
is a-
double team.
This is that. Like, that is that Mickey Rourke. I honestly, truthfully, he could have been in like the sequels. It honestly would
Fucking
have
A. Oh my God. Yeah, he
Dude,
could have been. I would have
Everybody
taken
and their
him
mothers could have been in the sequels to this. These were like
Yeah,
trash.
true.
These were
That's
like,
but that's why I'm saying the sequels to From Dusk Till Dawn. The problem is they tried to have a plot.
Yeah.
Don't give me
But
a
my whole
plot.
thing
Just
is, like,
remake the
who-
first movie over and over.
See, I agree with you, Ian, except for the fact that what bothered me so much about the third one, right out of the gate, was that they tried to do the same exact thing again.
Yeah, they
where
tried
they
to remake
gave you
that,
half
yeah.
of a different kind of movie into a vampire movie.
Problem
and
is
that
the
only
other
works
half
once.
is well, and
No,
also
it-
the problem. The other half sucks fucking asshole.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I'm
yeah, the
sorry,
fir-
but
yeah.
it's terrible.
They both
Western. It's
have
one
to
of
be
the worst
really
westerns
good,
I've
but
ever seen.
I think at this point in the
I'm-
sequel, we know they're vampires. We know the titty twister. We know whatever else. We don't need another half a
the
movie
twist is,
into it.
My whole
Yeah.
thing though is too like how does these movies get made with From Dusk Till Dawn in the titles? I mean, like don't
I don't
like
know,
Quentin
yeah.
Tarantino and Rob Rodriguez, so they do not own
They
that name?
executive produced it. It was
They produced this movie. Yeah,
They couldn't
Scott
get any kind
Spiegel,
of
who
fucking
did
budget for it or anything. Like,
Scott Spiegel, who did the second one, was like the writer of like Evil Dead 2 or something. He was like a Sam Raimi's apprentice or something.
Is that
why
why
is it
Bruce
so-
Campbell got in it?
Well,
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
sold it.
yeah.
They sold video rights. That's Miramax sold it as video rights. They had already sold cable rights. That's what produced the movie. I mean, it was the Roger Corman
the
approach.
canon, the pre-sell your
And
movie,
you
yeah,
pre-sell
overseas.
it,
Yeah.
and that's so they're not going to put in $1 million because they already pre-sold it for $2 million. So they're only going to put in $1 million, so they have a profit. So I mean,
Difference was they weren't pre-selling tomorrow's movie to pay for today's disaster like Canon
That's
often
true.
was. And then tomorrow's ended up being a disaster too. But what can you do? They can't all be winners. Now, because we have a couple of alumnus, if you will, from one of the greatest films ever made, Blood In, Blood Out, I just can't help but think there's a fucking tie in there somehow. Somehow there's got to be a tie-in where
Well, they are in
you take
Mexico.
you got Danny Trejo, you got you got Chewie, Get Jesse
gotta
Borrego
go
in
to
there. Get
LA.
Damian Chapa. Get Benjamin Bratt in there. Any of them, all of them. Get Magic Mike. Give
You're
me
saying a
Popeye.
crossover? So
Yeah, why not?
You can get to
Popeye,
LA, right?
if you can get to fucking Mexico from LA. So
Yeah, exactly. You
I
can
mean,
get there.
that is a great title though. From Dusk Till Dawn, Blood In, Blood Out. I mean,
Right?
that's
Fucking
a great
A.
title.
How about or from
Yeah,
Dusk Till
yeah.
from Dusk Till Dawn from Mexico to LA?
That's a fucking that works for me too. East Los, you got some
From Dusk Till Dawn,
vatos.
born in East LA.
You got some vatos from the barrio that get hit up by
How
some 3P.
awesome would it be like vatos, like fucking like some vatos men that were vampires? Ooh,
I'm
that
saying,
would have been
dude, it takes Vatos Locos forever, and it really puts new meaning on the forever. Like there's some rivalries that go. It's like the Shakespeare of vampire stories in the barrio. It'd be fucking incredible.
How did we never get this movie? How did we never get like a barrio, like a cholo, fucking vampire movie? Come on.
Because we got Texas fucking blood money instead, and it's a
That's
goddamn
fair.
crime against cinema. We should have gotten the fucking blood in, blood out vampire movie. Just give me that team in a vampire movie.
If the
That's
third
it.
one had
All I need.
been modern, do you think it would have worked better?
It's a third one. I think
Instead
I
of doing
just
the
think
Western approach, it was
You
just
gotta,
I mean,
I
that
think,
is-
as much as there may be a piece or two that's okay. I think the third one, you just got to blow it up and start from scratch. Just do everything.
But that's what I'm saying. I
Totally.
think if they did the story modern,
I'm guessing that
You're
the fact that they
still-
could get Danny Trejo and all three of them was the reason why we got two prequels to this first movie. Because I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure,
I guess, yeah.
right? He dies in the first one, right? Like they kill it, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing they were like, well, we can get Danny Trejo, we can get, we have the titty twister, whatever. We could show it beforehand, like, because they're both. Those are the only two consistent things in these movies: is the place and him.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that's why they're both technically prequels. One's a period piece,
I just, I'll say this about the third one is it makes the Western Tremors movie look forgivable by comparison. At the end of the day,
I love
fuck
Tremors
you.
4: The Legend Begins. I love
you.
Well, I mean, is
Fuck
second
you in that
is
shitty movie. Jesus.
is the second from Dusk Till Dawn a prequel? You think?
I think just technically because he's in it as the bartender, and he dies in the first one, correct?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
could be. I think it's it's kind of irrelevant. I think it's just like, oh, here he is again. We like this guy.
They didn't kill all the damn vampires. There's no freaking way.
He wasn't quite Danny Trejo yet either. I think it was almost a rule if you had to do a movie and you had to have more than one Spanish character, one of them had to be Danny Trejo. I think it was some kind of
I might have read the information for the second one when we were looking at him at first as like a prequel to the first movie. I think that's the only reason that stuck in my head. But it doesn't really matter. You're right.
Shittier than I thought it was. Because I'm like, so I'm sitting there going like, so let me get this straight. You think that Robert Patrick could hold a movie that's a prequel to an already great movie with George fucking Clooney?
All right. Wait, hold on.
I'm sorry. But
here's the problem: I just really
if he had been in the first one,
George
it would have been
Clooney is
great.
one of the coolest fucking characters there is, and the way that they bring Robert Patrick into this is one of the most pathetic, castrated fucking leads, and that does not help at all. His case.
Random thought though, because we all love Danny Trejo, what if we did another prequel? You go even further back, and I'm usually not a fan of this stuff. But you do, like, instead of Danny Trejo, it's Dan Helsing, where he is literally, this is like how the human Danny Trejo got fucking vamped up. You know what I mean? If you want to tie it in continuity-wise, you could have your Meatballs ending, Ian, where all the Danny Trejos are sitting around talking to each other.
He could be the head vamp. He could be the head vamp. He could be the head vamp, or he could be like, Cheech's side man.
I'm just saying, give me long hair Danny Trejo killing vampires, like hunting
Danny
vampires.
Trejo now older.
Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, all he would have had to do was mention his brother dying or something like that, and then one of them has the mustache and the other one doesn't.
Oh my god!
Maybe it was twins. Maybe it was a twin.
Right. Hermano. Yeah.
Vampires don't text. That works.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know where that came from. The not texting.
Machete. Machete don't text.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have macheted in a minute, so I
You'd
can't
say
even say
that
it right
line
anymore.
in a movie that you automatically have at least half the theater clapping. That's all I'm saying. Some people are gonna boo, but you got half the theater going like, "Yeah, he said it." You know, I
That's true. That's a good point.
That is
So
Trejo's like calling card. I mean, if you can think of like one memorable line that Danny Trejo has ever said in a movie, it's "Machete
Yeah.
don't text."
get this,
That's
get
true.
this. Okay, get this. We make because they never made it happen as the head vampire. I don't know how you do it special effects, but whatever. Somebody will make it happen. But that tattoo comes alive. That girl comes off his chest and is the Salma Hayek dancer.
Like in the oh my god, like in the fucking Electra movie.
I don't care. Yeah, just but it like comes alive, and that's just come on. That's cool.
I've only seen it done
Again,
once, and it was in that
a
terrible
screenplay.
movie.
You don't know how you do it, but that producer's like, God dang, this is the best movie ever made. You know,
You don't do it like the Electric movie, but yeah.
I mean, if there ever was the dingleberry of a cinematic idea, that is it right there, sir.
How dare you? How dare
Well,
you?
I think
let's not
Richard Gecko.
let's not shit on the Electra movie too much.
You know you need Grieco to play Gecko. I'm sorry. You do.
I love
all right. Well, I think I have to cut us off there.
Did we do it?
I think I don't know. Maybe we did it. We tried to do it.
At
least I didn't.
Like 2 and 3, we sauteed something together. It plays. You eat it.
Whatever we did, it's better than the sequels they already got. So
I didn't even get to my Howard the
this. We'll circle back.
We'll come back.
I didn't even get to my Howard the Duck crossover from Dusk Till Dawn, but that's okay. We'll save that for another day.
Out of here. That's a great poster you should make. Howard the Duck with the gun on the come on, dude.
Howard shooting the gun, I'd be okay with that. I'd be A-okay with it.
Cool. That's good.
From fucking Tim Robbins with the hole in his hand, all taped up and shit. You could do worse. I'm just saying.
That's our sequel tonight, folks. From
Dusk Till Dawn.
That's that.
Leah does the snake dance, and every kid who grew up in the '80s is happy. I'm just saying.
And
well, I guess then it's time for me to say.
I'm Howard the Duck. I don't believe in vampires, and I don't. But what I saw was vampires.
Yes.
You know something? I've dealt with dark overlords, and I've had it with this shit. I can handle. Yeah. Oh, where's your fucking laser spectroscope when you need it? Oh, this has actually got potential. This has got some real potential here. You get a dark overlord in there and a vampire tongue going to the cigarette lighter situation. There's actually more here than I thought. Damn it, we're overtime. All right. Well, I guess I have to say then that you Fandom fans might want to tune in next Wednesday at 9 p.m. when we feel the rhythm and the ride for our Cool Runnings episode. As always, if you enjoyed this video, the best way to help is to smash that like button and leave a comment telling us what movie or TV franchise that you want us to cover on a future episode of VCR Redux. And since you're already doing that, you might as well go ahead and like, subscribe, and follow Fandom Spotlight and Pop Culture Punk. Till then, back up those Betamax, rewind those Laserdiscs, and we'll see you at the movies.
They suck.